Hello, welcome back to the Right Hand Gals podcast. It's Renee.
And I'm Lyssa.
So like I said, that's so brief. It's Renee.
I know.
Well,
We're going right into it today.
Yep. Today, I thought it would be nice to start off with some highs and lows of our week. Lyssa, care to share?
Yeah. Let me see. I had a very exciting business meeting today about some potential fun endeavors that obviously I can't say anything about. But I was, okay, what I can tell you is that I'm very proud of myself for stepping out of my comfort zone and being willing to explore new opportunities and have conversations with other people in this industry and just see what opportunities are out there, because I don't think that's something that I would have done 10 years ago. So that was my high.
Kudos to you, Lyssa.
Thanks. And my low is that one of my cats ate plastic and threw it up on my desk right now. So that sucks.
Yes. How many cats do you have?
Well, we have 4, but then our neighbors have 4 and they don't take care of them. We took them to get fixed, and ever since we took them to get fixed, they decided that they actually live at our house now. So 4/8.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure someone out there can relate with 8
I'm sure nobody
cats.
can relate to 8 cats, but if you can, please send me a DM.
They're
we'll be
signing
besties.
off.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, that's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Tell me about your highs and your lows.
Highs and lows. High. Well, I'll start with a low.
Oh, okay.
Low.
It's fine.
Low was, it's not even that really. It's not really a low, but I've been working so much lately, it feels like with work, and then podcast stuff, and then being a wife and all the things. I just I've been feeling really tired lately and just exhausted and not not motivated to be creative, which is kind of different for me because I love being creative. So I had a day where I wasn't feeling super motivated, but I made sure to put on a decently cute outfit, something that I knew I'd feel confident in, which
that always helps.
Pro tip. Yeah.
Yes.
If you're feeling down, just put a cute outfit on and go to work. And so I was sitting at my desk for about 3 hours working barely because like I said, was feeling super unmotivated. Then I took a break, went to the bathroom, went and washed my hands because I feel like after I wash my hands, it's with cold water, I just feel a little more refreshed.
Yes. You cleanse yourself.
Exactly, yeah. And I looked in the mirror, and I have a full length mirror, and I saw myself, and I was like, wow, 1, cute outfit today. 2, I just sat there and looked at myself and was thinking, if 16-year-old Renee saw me right now, how pumped she would be and how excited she would be to keep going and working so hard. And I had a moment where I was just sitting there and kind of smiled to myself. If anyone saw me, they'd think I was insane. But it was a really nice and lovely moment to myself where I just thought wow, we're getting somewhere. We're doing pretty good. Yeah. If I'm just stressed about work and what the things I'm stressed about work, if that's the worst I have it, we're doing pretty good. So I guess that's so my high was just turning that around. And then I went back and started working, and then I was doing better work because I felt better. So yeah, that was my high.
Good for you. I like that.
Pretty good. I know.
I think that's something we can all store right up here for any of those moments where you feel like that.
Yeah.
Just think about where you were and how far you've come.
Yeah. Well, on TikTok right now, which again, bringing up TikTok all the time.
I know, Renee lives in TikTok.
I'm just obsessed with it lately. Everyone's doing those POV, all of those. And then there's another one, a trend right now where they're talking about 15-year-old me would be proud that I did this. And
Uh-huh.
I every single time, it gets me every single time where I just read every single one and I'm like so proud of that person. And that's kind of how it was like in real life for me at that point.
You have the moment.
Oh, yeah. In real life. Love that. Maybe we should put it on TikTok. We have a TikTok, everyone.
Yes, we do.
We made a TikTok.
Because Renee lives there, like I said. So it only made sense.
Yeah. Well, we're really trying. So go ahead and go give us a follow. Share a nice message. We'd
All you Gen
it.
Zers, please come find us.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of questions we received this past week.
Wait, what was your low?
Oh, my low was feeling down. And
you had a high and low in one moment?
Yeah, I know.
That's beautiful, Renee. Wow.
Thank you.
That is beautiful.
Thank you. Round of applause.
Can we talk about that for a second, though? Your creativity? Like, I think that is so normal to feel like unmotivated, not creative when you work a creative job. Your creativity is going to ebb and flow. I actually noticed it today, where it just was like these huge like peaks and valleys throughout the day, like not even throughout the week. It was just like these bursts of like, I'm a big note taker, like physical pen to paper. And I sent a voice memo to one of my girls and then I was like, oh shoot, I got all these ideas. And I was just like writing all these different ideas out. And it felt really good, but the whole morning had been a little bit of a drag. So if you are struggling with that too, just know that it is not the end of your career. You are still a valuable person and you still have great ideas. Sometimes they just go into hiding and they'll come back out.
Yeah, something that I've won while taking a break is like a great idea. Something that I've also noticed that I need personally is traveling or like going somewhere, like going shopping for me. Like I always come up with so many ideas whenever I like go to each store because each store is so creative in their own way, like with their branding and everything that I get so many ideas and I feel like a little more refreshed when I step out of my comfort zone or even like I said, traveling, like visiting a new spot or somewhere you're not there all the time, really helps me feel a little more creative too. So
I totally weekend agree trip. With that. Definitely find out what it is for you that like inspires that creativity. For me, in terms of work, this is going to sound so dumb, but if I find a brand either that we're working with or like just personally that I'm excited about while I'm like shopping or browsing online or whatever, and I read their like about section of how they started and like what their mission is, that just like lights me up because I'm like, oh, I wonder if they could benefit from this, or like I wonder what their like influencer business model looks like. Are they like implementing this? Like it just stop. I can't. I need to just take a seat, but that lights my fire. So find what it is for you, and if you can figure out how to like integrate it into your life a little bit more, like Renee's is travel or shopping or whatever it is. You do that.
Yeah, that's great
do
advice.
It for you.
Great advice. Are we going to just talk over each other the whole episode today? Sorry, everyone.
No, I was taking a breath. You're good. Go. I'm just like out of breath from talking, so let me take a moment.
We're talking about this after we recorded in our episode last week, and we were like, why are we sweating after we record a podcast?
I'm very proud to say that I've gotten on my Peloton 3 times in the last week, so I'm getting into podcast shape.
That's good for you.
Thank you.
I work out by going on walks.
Yeah,
I did
like
buy
walks.
A new pair of sneakers this weekend.
Ooh, which kinds?
I bought Hoka's.
Girl, yes! I love me some Hoka's.
Hoka's, if you want to sponsor us, let us know.
Oh my God, please. Fun fact, I used to model for Hoka.
Wow.
So Hoka holds a very special place in my heart. Yeah, I was on the cover of a French magazine with Hoka's on.
Oh my gosh.
It's so random. I used to be very big into running before I hurt myself, which is so sad because I love it. But I still rep my Hoka's every chance I get. I love them.
That's so cool. I am not a runner, but I love taking walks.
Yeah, they're great.
And And I love running errands in sneakers, so
Hoka's are the best shoes for it.
They're super cute.
Hoka, please hit us up.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
Let's get into it for today.
A lot of people are asking if we had any fears of working in the industry. Short answer is, oh my God, yes.
Yes.
There are moments where I feel like I just voice mem Lyssa or honestly call her at this point where I'm just like, what if this happens?
Yeah.
And I'm very much a person that like has to say it out loud. Like they do this on This Is Us, and hopefully I'm sure that people watch this or have watched the TV show. But Randall and his wife, before they go into like a scary conversation or scary topic or something, they always say, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? And then they go back and forth and say out these like ridiculous things that could happen. And that is, when I watch that, I have never felt something so much like in my core where I was like, that is stuff that I do every single day.
Yeah.
And so, yes, short answer, yes. I have so many fears working in the industry. Lyssa?
Yeah. And I think it's kind of funny because you and I are both, I don't know if this like comes with the territory or our personality types, but we're both a little bit more like anxiety and worry prone, I think, than like the average person going into scenarios like that, just kind of thinking of the worst. And I definitely deal with a lot of it. My coping mechanism is to not think about it. Like head down, just laser focused on one step in front of the other and just keep going. But yeah, I'd be lying if I said that I was not constantly terrified of just like, what the actual hell am I doing? I deal a lot with imposter syndrome.
Oh.
A lot.
I think working in this industry, and I mean, not even if you don't work in this industry, following influencers or following like celebrities nowadays, it's kind of hard not to. Yeah.
And I think for me, at least this is what I think, that it stems from the fact that I'm pretty isolated. And I don't, like, other than you or you, I don't really have anybody else in a similar position who I trust and I can speak openly about, like, the actual fears that I have. And, like, if Instagram goes away, what do I do? How do I make money? Thankfully, like, I think I inherited this from my mom. My mom is the most positive person in the world. And at the same time, she can very much be a realist, which I have as well. But she always looks at the positive. So if I were to, like, say something like, what if Instagram goes away? She'd be like, it's not going away. Look at Facebook. Hasn't gone away.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And I think I always have that follow-up. You actually talked me off the ledge today. I had a really exciting business call, and of course I call Renee, and I'm like panicking about what are these opportunities? What does this mean? Can I do this? Is this the only way to be successful? Can I do this? And she was so positive and just so willing to be vulnerable with me. And you really let me like say everything I had to say, and you validated what I had to say. But I think it was helpful to hear, like, take a breath. That's probably not going to happen. You can do this.
Yeah.
So that's something that I definitely struggle with a lot. And in case you haven't heard the phrase imposter syndrome, I did Google it so that I could share with the class. So it says imposter syndrome is loosely defined as doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud. Sometimes people find it difficult to accept their accomplishments. Many question whether they're deserving of accolades, which that last part doesn't really apply to this situation. But like I said, I think a lot of it for me stems back to just like being isolated and not getting feedback often, or not having someone to bounce your emotions off of throughout the day while you're working.
Yeah. Obviously, Lyssa and I don't work together with our current influencing bosses. But I feel like we almost do in a way because we lean on each other like emotionally so much.
Yeah.
And I think that is good. Like everyone should have someone, where, well, Lyssa is one of my best friends, period. So
yeah, absolutely.
Going to her for like personal things, but then also going to her obviously for more work-related things is really helpful. And everyone should have that, I think. I think
yes.
if you don't have someone that you're close with that, like, understands what you're going through in work, maybe look for someone that can be that person for you, because how sad that I can't even fathom that, honestly, like, going through any job and not having some emotional support or another person to lean on.
And I think if you're in a similar situation to us, maybe you're like a social media manager or something, where either you're self-employed or you're a team of one, or maybe you're a team of two and you have somebody under you where it wouldn't really be appropriate to establish that kind of relationship. Find somebody on Instagram or TikTok who you think you might align with, that you might be able to trust, because if it weren't for Renee DMing me, like, none of this would have ever happened, and I think I would have still felt like, I don't want to say alone, but like I said, there's a little bit of isolation that comes with not having a quote-unquote, like, department or, like, work bestie, like the way that people traditionally do. All my other jobs before, I had, like, a work bestie. And, you know, we were really lucky that Renee and I were kind of, like, at parallel points in our lives. We got married at the same time, had a really similar engagement and an engagement time period, the whole timeline. Everything was really well timed for both of us, and I think that really lent itself to allow us to become closer than I think most people would have, because we could relate on those terms. And then it just, you know, blossomed into us being able to trust each other and all of that. So I think if there's somebody that you think that you could connect with on social media, reach out. It doesn't hurt to say hi and start a conversation.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And that's kind of like the beauty of social media too, because obviously what we do, it's more of like a platform for creators to sell items and for the consumer to learn more about brands and stuff. And that's obviously like one part of social media, but the other part really is about like, one, growing relationships, meeting new people. And I think if we remember that and we don't just use all of our time for social media to like get the best photo and get the best caption and like do that, but like use it to benefit us in creating more relationships, even if that person lives across the world, like do that because it's going to help your mental health, and it's going to help,
if you're feeling the way that you're feeling, I can guarantee you there's somebody out there feeling the exact same way in a really similar role, and you're going to be able to connect in a way that you might not have been able to with somebody close to you physically.
Yeah.
Physically in your area.
And that's what I've kind of noticed on, like I said, or we said earlier in the podcast, that we started a TikTok account, which TikTok does a really good job with, with everyone's algorithm. Like, obviously, everyone's feed is very different, and they cater your feed to what you are liking. Yeah. And so on our Right Hand Gals podcast, TikTok, and oh my Lord, so many social medias. On our Right Hand Gals TikTok page or account, our algorithm is a ton of people that have similar roles to us. Which one, I feel like Lyssa and I always think we're so alone and that like no one else has jobs like us. But it's kind of like shown me like, oh, other people are kind of doing what we're doing. Yeah. And it's allowed us to follow those people and then reach out to them and strike up a conversation, which you never know what might happen, like one with work, but also on a relationship basis. So something else that makes me a little nervous about the industry is Instagram, period. Because it changes really every day. And I know people that don't even work in the industry yet, or if you do, like, God bless you. Like, we're all feeling this pain.
Yeah.
Just, like, how it changes all the time. It makes me really nervous. Like, one, creators leaving the platform. Two, they're almost, it feels like they're self-destructing their own app.
I agree.
And
oh my God, is Instagram, like, going to hear this and get mad at us and, like, shadow ban our account?
Nah. I mean, come have a conversation with us, Instagram. I'm really would love to actually have a conversation with someone that worked at Instagram.
Same.
I'm not talking bad about Instagram. I think it's a genius platform. I just think they could be doing better.
Yeah, I'm not sure I really understand the strategy behind the constantly changing algorithm and tactics and things like that. I would love to know why.
I would love to know why, too.
There's so many businesses that, like, hinge on Instagram as a platform.
Yeah. Well, and I think whenever, like, months ago, whenever the algorithm changed, and I felt like I had a pretty solid grasp of, like, what you had to do, like, or what the algorithm wanted you to do.
Yeah.
And now with Reels and all of that stuff, I'm like, what do you want? Like, what is going to help everyone in this situation? Because there are even times where I'm not seeing creators that I like to follow, and I'm like, well, what am I doing wrong? Because I'm liking their stuff, I'm commenting, I'm interacting, and it's like they're making reels, they're not making reels, they're, like, posting on a schedule, and, like, terrifying for influencers. I feel for them.
Absolutely, I know.
Because this is their business, and two, it's awful for the consumer.
Yeah.
So that's extremely nerve-wracking for me and something that stresses me out with the industry.
I agree.
Another thing that stresses me out about the industry, well, not to be negative, I feel like this whole ask you shall receive people, but another thing is when TikTok came out, I remember I reached out to, we have a group message with other employees of influencers. I reached out to all of us. I think we had, like, 6 people in the group message. And I was like, TikTok, anyone understand it? No? I'm a millennial. Can't understand it. And that was kind of like a joke at the very beginning where it was like, oh, millennials won't understand TikTok. And I felt that. I didn't understand it until I spent hours on it and, like, really studied it. Kind of like what we had to do with Instagram, too.
Yeah.
So it makes me nervous, but it also makes me excited that there are new platforms coming out. But I'm also like, the older I get, am I going to be this smart every time a new platform comes out? Or
hopefully that's where, like, the new generation will step up and, like, those will be the next generation of right-hand gals.
That's true.
Those are the girls that we need to step in and teach us about the new platforms.
I'll pass the torch on.
Yes.
But, so that's definitely a fear I have, and that's just working for an influencer. So, like I said, I can't imagine how influencers feel whenever there's so much movement in all of these platforms. Yeah,
I mean, those couple of days that Instagram has, like, just gone down completely and everybody's like, what are we doing today? Like, are we just pausing everything? Like, I mean, you don't really have a choice, but days like that are always a little bit nerve-wracking, and you feel everybody scrambling to make sure they have a plan B in place to sustain themselves.
Yeah, and I think another thing that I have that I'm nervous about, now I'm just going on a rant.
Tell me.
Another thing that I have that I'm nervous about is people not understanding influencer marketing and what it means. And which, again, is why we started this podcast, for people to understand, like, get an inside, like, scoop. I don't want to say scoop because it sounds like we're talking, like, a lot of drama, but just to fully understand the industry, which is a legit industry, one.
Yeah.
And I think by a lot of people not understanding it and some people speaking poorly about it when they just don't have all the facts, it could hurt us potentially. I mean, I don't think influencer marketing is going anywhere, so I think our jobs are fine.
Yeah.
But it does make me nervous, or it upsets me whenever I see someone who clearly just doesn't know what they're talking about, and they're not willing to have a conversation with someone who does know what they're talking about, and that's like with all world things.
I think I see a lot of people get frustrated or upset with influencer marketing as a whole. Mm-hmm. And I think there's so many layers to it. And obviously, if that upsets you, like, you don't need to consume it.
No.
But I really think we have to look at it as the new commercial. Mm-hmm. We sit and watch TV. I think a lot of us stream TV now, so there are fewer commercials and ads, but they're still there. Mm-hmm. It might be a banner at the top of your Netflix page or whatever it is, but they still exist. And I think it's important that we kind of embrace the change in media and digital ads as a whole. People don't consume magazines the way they used to. Where does all that money go from that marketing agency? It has to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I personally would rather hear an ad from someone that I believe in and that I trust. But yeah, it is a lot easier to flip through an ad in a magazine if you don't want to consume it. Mm-hmm. Sure. But I think more and more people know that influencers are going to have ads. That's just what it is. And I might get a little bit of heat for this, but I would be willing to bet that there's a little bit of jealousy behind it and possibly a lot of misunderstanding. Because if anybody had the opportunity to provide for their family or provide for themselves in a way that influencer marketing allows, I think it would be exciting to a lot of people. I don't think it suits every personality by any means. But if it does, then I think there could be possibly some jealousy behind that. And that's okay. It's okay to look at someone's life and say, I want that, so they shouldn't have it. I think a lot of people say that. So I think it's just important that you kind of look within yourself and figure out what's going on there.
That's a really good point. And I think we're also, like, not in every I'm going to say it, like, not every influencer is a good influencer. Just like not every doctor is a good doctor. Not every, So find those influencers or those people that you trust.
Yeah.
And why does it matter if it's a paid ad? Like, for working behind the scenes with one influencer, I know for a fact she tries everything that is sent to her before she is paid to promote it. And it's a lot of stuff, you guys. There are a lot of opportunities that she passes away because she doesn't believe in the product. And that doesn't mean that it's a bad product. It just means that it won't fit her audience, one. And it's not true to her brand, or like it's not true. Like, obviously, if she doesn't have a kid, she's not going to be promoting baby toys, you know? So it's just...
And I think people don't realize that there are a lot more no's, that a lot more people turn down products or ads in this industry than you could ever imagine. Like, there are so many no's just because they don't align. And I think, like, it's same is true for me and all of my girls. They will not promote a product that they don't believe in. Mm-hmm. I think that's just what we see a lot on our side. But like Renee said, not everybody has that same integrity. So just vet the people that you're following. And if something doesn't feel right, if they're not bringing joy to the couple of minutes a day that you watch them, you don't need to follow them. Like, don't do the hate follow. What is the point?
Yeah, and
what is the point?
It's not healthy.
No,
really.
It's just negativity in your day. Like, you don't need to spend time talking shit about somebody to talk shit about them. Like, we just don't need to do that.
And with the messages, sending the mean messages, it's just...
I know, what is that?
It's not us, you guys. No. We're better than that.
Yeah. I think that's just a huge waste of time and negative energy, and nobody needs that in their lives. And on the other hand, there are things that we're excited about
on a positive note.
Yes, to uplift you here. I don't know. I mean, small creators and like new creators light me up like you would not believe. Like, show me somebody who's like 20K, 50K. Tell me how they got there. Like, let me dive into what they're doing. Let me watch their stories. Like, do they DM back? Like, I want to talk to them. All of that is so exciting to me because I really think there's not even a new generation. I don't think Instagram shows me Gen Z, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I think a lot of that lives on TikTok, but I do see a lot of girls in their late 20s, early 30s starting new accounts and starting little businesses on Instagram. And that is like so cool to me because I think a lot of us are ready to kind of shift away from like the 2015 blogger type. I think a lot of girls have shifted away from that just as like a natural part of life, having kids, life's kind of just different than it was a few years ago. So a lot of girls, I see at least, have changed the way that they share on Instagram. But the new people just really excite me because I think it's exciting for them. And they're learning and they're growing and they're developing new relationships and they're getting to experience working with brands for the first time. And there's always something exciting about new. Whether that's a new job or a new friendship. And so I think the newness is always such a fun thing to experience.
Yeah, I agree with that. To kind of piggyback off of that, something that excites me about growth in general is we are allowed into these people's lives and they're showing us how they're growing. And we're almost like growing with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool to be able to witness. And like some of them are starting families or some of them are starting new businesses, and like how cool it is to like see people starting a business from the ground up. And it's not normal. I don't think that's like very normal to be able to share. It really is just so cool. And it's just another way for us to learn more with all of these platforms. And I think that's really exciting.
And I think as a consumer too, I feel special getting to watch someone's family grow. If they're choosing to share that with us, like that is the sweetest thing. Or watching them start a new business. And I think there's kind of a big area for them to receive hate for that. And I've seen it a lot, and it breaks my heart because starting a business, whether it's your first or your fifth, is always a risk. It's always scary. So for them to allow us to see that is so cool and like truly an honor.
Yeah, I agree. And it's really hard to share that too. So it takes a special person to be able to do it. But I also love seeing I think whenever influencers or anyone does like a question box, someone always asks like how to get started in the industry.
Yes.
That's like always the number one question. And I love hearing the advice that everyone gives each other because I think a number one question too is, do you think it's overpopulated now Like, do you think there are too many of you? And it's like, no, every single person has always said no. And I think that's really kind. Yeah. And I think that's really cool for them to say, really. Yeah. Like, no one's competing. I mean,
no.
Obviously, some people are, cool. But yeah. But it's always really, it makes me like that person more when they say, like, no, please come. And just, like, all you have to do is just start posting. Yep. And I agree with that. If I could weigh in a little bit there, I would say start posting, and I would be transparent with your followers. Like, for myself, on my personal Instagram, I am not the person that's going to be holding up my camera and talking head on to my followers on Instagram. Mm-hmm. But on the Right Hand Gals account, I feel a lot more comfortable doing that because those people want to see it. And maybe that's just like an insecurity that I need to work on with my own followers. And maybe half my followers are listening on my personal account and being like, no, we actually want to know about your life. But I'm not there yet. But Lyssa is really good at sharing like what she's doing with her day and house stuff, family stuff, what her and her husband are doing that weekend. And it's just really cool.
It feels like very normal to me. And I think for me, it's been such a great way to have relationships with people. Mm-hmm. I've found so many people who, you know, like you and I got married during a pandemic or who are renovating their fixer. And it's really nice to have those connections with people. So I think like, for me, that's kind of where it all stems. I love that, but I know that's not everybody, and that's okay. And also, part of the whole like smaller influencers and new people becoming influencers or trying to share their lives and post or whatever, as project managers and brand managers and social media managers, we need that. Mm-hmm. The more people that are in this industry, the more jobs that will be created. And I think that's more opportunity for, you know, people in 3 years. Maybe you're finding this podcast in 2024. And I think there's still, I really truly believe in the next 5 years, the amount of jobs behind the scenes or directly on an influencer's team is only going to grow. That number is just going to grow. We're going to see more and more jobs being created. And I think that's something that really like excites both of us. And that's a huge part of why this podcast exists.
It's the only reason why this podcast exists.
Yeah, we really want to help cultivate that as best as we can because it's happening. Whether we're here or not, those jobs are going to be created, and it's so exciting for both of us.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, obviously, we are so passionate about the industry, and there's so many other people that are passionate about the industry that we would love to have conversations with, and we'd love for y'all to hear those conversations. So they're coming.
Yes.
We're taking our own advice and reaching out and networking and creating relationships with those who are not right next to us. So I just want to encourage everyone to do the same and don't let a fear stop you from being in an industry that's kind of like a baby industry at this point. We're going to have fears in every industry that you're in. So
yeah. And I think the beauty of a lot of this being unknown is that there's a huge opportunity for you to kind of just like forge your own path. Take what you have, take what makes you valuable and sell it. Put it out there and make somebody want to work with you because there's absolutely room for that.
Yeah.
And if you're having those fears, just do what Renee does and put on a cute outfit, go into the bathroom, wash your hands, and be proud of yourself.
Yeah. Think about how far you've come and what, I mean, even last year you was dreaming of.
Yes.
Last week sometimes for me, I'm like, I think we need to all work on celebrating those small steps because
Absolutely.
As a Pinterest quote would say, small steps are the big steps in the long run.
They really are.
Hate to be cheesy, but it's kind of true.
It's so true. If you are dealing with imposter syndrome like I am, or just like fears, feeling unmotivated, doubting your creativity, you can always reach out to us on Instagram. We are at The Right Hand Gals, or you can send us an email too if that's your thing. If you like Outlook, I feel you. What's our email, Renee?
It's therighthandgals@gmail.com. It's also in our Instagram, so you can always go there to get an email.
Yes, you can find all that info there. But we're more than happy to have a conversation with you because we get it. We totally understand.
Yeah, we're with you. But we love you guys. We're supporting you. We're cheering you on. And
Absolutely.
we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.